Christmas is over, and you know what the most scary thing for many of us is? Is to look at our credit card bills. You know, we spent during Christmas. We knew that it was important to spend and enjoy the Christmas season, but now the bills come due. The same's true for the government. Over the last number of years, the government has had unprecedented levels of spending, and you know what? They put it on the government's credit card.
Given the historically low interest rates and the low debt servicing costs that we have, we decided to take on that debt.
And now we're in the season of wondering, was it all worth it? I'll leave that up to you in terms of your own personal spending. But I can tell you that there's a lot of Canadians that really wonder if the uncontrolled spending over the last number of years was the right thing to do. But if you're not sure what the government got for the hundreds of billions of dollars that they've spent over the last number of years, you wouldn't be alone, because the Auditor General just released a report saying that there was tens of billions of dollars that was completely wasted. We're talking about millions of dollars that went to dead people. People that were in prison were getting government checks. There's other cases where the government was giving special sweetheart deals to their friends and the companies that those friends owned.
And I have some concerns about that section of the bill. It's going to provide $2 billion to you as minister to buy shares in a corporation which does not exist. There's no legislation which tells us anything about this yet to be created corporation. We don't know anything about the composition of the board or even whether there will be a board.
We need to move really, really fast, and so getting this fund in place quickly is more important than ever.
But Minister, you can't put the fund in place. You're saying, give me the $2 billion, I'll buy some shares, but the company doesn't even exist.
And all of this was put on the national credit card that we have to pay for. The government spent as much as they could, as fast as they could. Like all of us, the government can only spend so much on their credit card before they've got to start paying on that. And the difference between the government spending and individuals that are spending on their credit card is the government spending has to be paid for twice. Obviously, Canadians will have to pay back the debt that the government has incurred over the last number of years. But there's a second, bigger problem. Because the government spent as much as it could, as fast as it could, and pushed out significant amounts of money into the economy, it meant that there was more dollars chasing fewer goods, driving up inflation. So Canadians now are not only paying for the government's reckless spending, they're paying for increased costs in all the goods that we buy to survive. Increases in food prices, increases in gasoline and energy prices. The government has caused an inflationary crisis at the same time that they've created a debt crisis. And just like us, we're getting our credit card bills in January, the government is also finding out that they've got to start paying back their deficit spending. And to do that, they're raising your taxes. As a matter of fact, on January the 1st, the government imposed higher payroll taxes on every single working Canadian. So if you get a paycheck, your taxes have gone up. And you know what's the most outrageous thing about this is that the government's telling Canadians to get their fiscal house in order. Just a couple of months ago, Chrystia Freeland, the finance minister, was telling Canadians that she was making the difficult decision to cut Disney Plus and that other Canadians were going to have to similarly make difficult decisions.
I personally, as a mother and wife, look carefully at my credit card bill once a month. And last Sunday, I said to the kids, you're older now, you don't want to watch Disney anymore. Let's cut that Disney Plus subscription. So we cut it. It's only $13.99 a month that we're saving, but every little bit helps. And I think every mother in Canada is doing that right now.
And this is at the same time that she's spending billions of dollars. The Auditor General made it clear that billions of dollars were unaccounted for. So they're refusing to get their fiscal house in order, but they're coming to you and saying it's time for you to pay more so that they don't have to get their house in order. Canadians have never been taxed more. Maybe the government has a spending problem, not a revenue problem.
Your comment regarding Disney Plus and Canadians, in some instances, calling that out of touch, if you could comment on that.
Of course. Look, I think I want to start by really recognizing that I am a very privileged person.
This is absolutely nuts. At a time when we're experiencing 40-year inflation highs, at a time when we've seen rate hike after rate hike for interest rates for Canadians across this country, the government is coming to Canadians for more money. There's headlines in every newspaper across this country of Canadians who are struggling to make ends meet. As a matter of fact, over half of Canadians believe that they will not be able to feed their family if this crisis continues. This is in Canada. But there's ways to fix this. I believe that the government needs to get serious about respecting taxpayers' money. In the same way that every household has to budget to ensure that they're not spending more than they bring in, the government needs to decide that the solution is not increasing taxes, but using what they have responsibly. In the same way that families have to decide if they want to build a new deck, they can't go on vacation, the government needs to have the same type of restraint. There's no question that there's places that the government needs to improve, and sometimes that means that they have to spend more money. But it doesn't mean that they have to get more from the taxpayer. We know that there's tens of billions of dollars that are being wasted by the government. You don't have to take just my word for it. The Auditor General said it was true. The government has resources. They just have to use them more wisely. Getting back to respecting the taxpayer, I just think you either have it or you don't. Justin Trudeau has been in power for 7 years, and I can tell you that he has never respected the taxpayer year after year after year. You know, I think we have to get back to basics. Every dollar that the government takes in taxation is taken from somebody who has worked for it. And any government that doesn't understand that is going to lose perspective. No amount of taxation or money is going to solve this problem. It requires respect. When you get your next paycheck, take a look at how much has been docked because of this new tax increase, and just decide if the spending has been worth it. In the comments below, I want to hear from you. Where do you think the government can save some money? And as always, thanks for watching.